Our next topic is Pareto charts. Pareto is an Italian economist, and he studied how money is distributed among people. He found out most money is owned by a small percentage of people. For his study, he drew the following graph. On the x-axis, he listed all the people in the world from the richest person to the poorest person. This is the richest person in the world. This is the second richest person in the world. And this is the third richest person in the world, and so on. And on the y-axis, he put the cumulative wealth. So for the richest person, the y value is all the money that he owns. For the second richest person, the y value is the money owned by the richest person plus the money owned by the second richest person. The y value is the cumulative wealth. For the third richest person, the y value is the money owned by the richest person plus the money owned by the second richest person and the money owned by the third richest person. So he kept doing this for all the people in the world. And we get a graph like this. This is called the Pareto chart. From this chart, he noticed the following. The majority of the money is owned by a small number of people. For example, 80% of money is owned by 20% of people. This is called the 80-20 rule. Also, 95% of money is owned by 50% of people. Half of the people own most of the money in the world. And we can apply this to many situations. On the x-axis, we can list all the areas where complaints come from. And on the y-axis, we can put the cumulative number of complaints. And we can realize that most of the complaints come from a small number of areas. If you apply the 80-20 rule, we can say 80% of the complaints come from only 20% of the areas. So by working on these 20% of the areas and fixing these problems, we can get rid of most of the complaints. So the 80-20 rule says 80% of the defects come from 20% of the causes. And we can apply this to your business. If your production line is producing defective products, and it could be due to a small number of issues. By finding these issues and fixing the problems, you can improve the defect rate significantly. So by concentrating on the 20% of the causes, managers can attack 80% of the problems. So let's take an example, and I'll show you how to create the Pareto chart. This is the same example as before. The manager of a neighborhood restaurant is concerned about the smaller number of customers patronizing his eatery. Complaints have been rising, and he would like to find out the issues to address and present the findings in a way his employees can understand. The manager surveyed his customers over several weeks and collected the following data. So we have the areas of complaints, discourteous server, slow service, and so on. We have the frequencies. 1. Draw the Pareto chart. Number 2. Which area should the manager focus on to get rid of 80% of the complaints? So how can we create the Pareto chart? What do you want to put on the x-axis of the Pareto chart? And what do you want to put on the y-axis of the Pareto chart? Now on the x-axis, we want to put all the areas of complaints from the highest frequency to the lowest frequency. So we're going to put them in order from the highest frequency to the lowest frequency. And on the y-axis, I want to put the cumulative frequency. And since I want to use the percentages, I want to put the cumulative percentage frequency on the y-axis. So first, let's put these areas of complaints in order from the highest frequency to the lowest frequency. The highest frequency is slow service, 42. Next, cramped tables, 20. Next, discordious server, 12. Atmosphere, 10. And cold dinner, 5. So this is the frequency. And for each of these areas, I want to compute the cumulative percent frequency. So I put them in order. And to find the cumulative percent frequency, let's first compute the percent frequency. So first we compute the total of all the frequencies. So add them up, we have 89. Now let's compute the percent frequency. What's the percentage of 42 out of 89? That's 42 over 89, which is 0.472. Let's express it into a percentage. So multiply by 100, it's 47.2%. We can repeat this for the rest of the areas. What's the percentage of 20 out of 89? 22.5%. What's the percentage of 12 out of 89? 13.5. And we repeat this for the rest. Next, how can you compute the cumulative percentage frequency? The cumulative percentage frequency is the sum of previous numbers and the current number. So for example, for slow service, this is the first one on the list. So the cumulative percentage frequency is the same as the percentage frequency. This is the same as the 47.2. But for the second one, cramped table, the cumulative percentage frequency is the sum of the current number and the previous number, which is 47.2. That's 47.2 plus 22.5, which is 69.7. Now, for the third area, the cumulative percentage frequency is the sum of the previous numbers and the current number. So add these three numbers, 22.5, and you get 83.2. Now for next, the cumulative percentage frequency is the sum of the previous numbers and the current number, 94.4. The last one, the sum of the previous numbers and the current number, 100%. So next, we can plot this cumulative percentage frequency on the XY plane. So here we draw the x-axis and the y-axis. On the x-axis, you list all the areas of complaints: slow service, cramped tables, discordious server, atmosphere, and cold dinner. And on the y-axis, you can plot the cumulative percentage frequency. First one is 47.2. This is 47.2. The second one is 69. 69.7. And the third one, 83. And then 94 and 100. And then you, from the origin, you connect these dots. This is the Pareto chart. Now, let's go back to our question. Our question says, on which areas should the manager focus to get rid of 80% of the complaints? So if you focus on the slow service and fix all the problems in this area, you will get rid of 47.2% of the complaints. Now, if you focus on the first two areas, then you will get rid of 69.7% of all the complaints. If you focus on the first three areas, then you get rid of 83.2% of the complaints. So this is our target. So the manager should focus on the first three areas: slow service, cramped tables, and discordial server.